A turnout here that I think the Kinsella family would be extremely proud of.
In the UK, knife crime is a huge problem. Although there has been a decrease in the number of reported offences involving a knife, the numbers are still high. According to the Citizens Report, in the years 2012 to 2013, there were 11,376 crimes committed involving a knife in London alone. These crimes included offences such as robbery, sexual assault, GBH and murder. During this documentary, we will be looking at what help there is out there to prevent young people from ever thinking they need to carry or use a knife. So we're just doing some more research now, and as you can see looking at this murder map, this is the amount of people that have lost their lives to knife crime in London and the surrounding areas, and as you can see there is a lot of people there, so it's really obvious that knife crime is still a big problem. We are obviously interested in the work that trusts and charities do with young people. We have come across a trust called Billy's Wish. Billy Dove was a young boy who was murdered in November 2011 to knife crime. A charity's been set up in his name, and we've found out that they do actually do work with young people. They've got an anti-knife crime campaign. We're going to be interviewing Jan Madden, who is a trustee of Billy's Wish, tomorrow, and hopefully we're going to find out the story behind Billy's Wish, what they do and the work that they do with schools and young people. How was the trust set up?
Paul Dove, Billy's father, decided that he didn't want any other family to ever go through what he had been through and what his family had been through, and obviously Billy's friends. So he set up the charity with a view to educating young people against knife crime and also to offer them other opportunities so that they keep away from gang culture. I did not know Billy, but Billy's aunt is one of my oldest friends in the town.
So what exactly is the anti-knife crime campaign?
It's targeted at school children. The average age for a young person to start carrying a knife is actually 14 years old. So the anti-knife crime campaign is, we have an education programme, which is a series of films that's going into schools locally, and that will teach children about the dangers of carrying a knife and who to go to if they're uncomfortable with the situation. It's going to be aimed at Year 6 for primary school children, and in that one we don't mention knives at all. That is completely about finding a safe adult if you're not comfortable with the situation, if you see something or you know that someone's carrying a knife. The Year 7 and 8 ones, which go into secondary schools, they're much harder hitting. Year 7 is all about the consequences of carrying a knife, and Year 8 is very much about the facts of what happens if somebody gets injured and the people that it affects.
What do you hope that the pupils will come away with after being involved in the programme?
They will come away armed with the knowledge of what will happen if they do decide to get involved and go down that route. The Ben Kinsella Trust are fantastic. They have the most brilliant exhibition, and Billy's Wish fund trips from Hemel Hempstead and the local Dacorum area to schools to go down to visit the exhibition. It's a very hard-hitting exhibition, all about knife crime. The pain of losing your own child is indescribable.
So we've just had our interview with Jan Madden from Billy's Wish. She was really lovely, really helpful and insightful. She told us all about the work that Billy's Wish do, and it's really positive to see that charities like Billy's Wish are actually going into schools to try and educate young people about knife crime. I think that's really positive. And she did mention the Ben Kinsella Trust, who I've just got off the phone to, and we are actually going to be able to interview someone there, which is really good. So hopefully we're going to find a bit more about what trusts do to go into schools and help educate young people about knife crime. So we've heard about the Knife Crime Awareness Exhibition. Could you tell us all about that and what it involves?
Sure. So it took a while for the family to try and decide what they wanted to do with the charity and how they wanted to work with young people, but working with young people as an early intervention approach was really important because they wanted to hopefully try and stop this kind of thing happening to other families. So now the exhibition space which we have here, we run workshops for children and young people, starting at Year 6, which is 10-year-olds, and then all the way up through the teens. And the workshops focus around consequences and choices. So every young person that comes in here hears the story from the Kinsellas in a film about what happened when Ben was killed, how that's affected their family forever. That's really powerful and emotional, and it affects every person that that sees that film. They also hear about consequences to perpetrators. So we've got an actor that's in a prison cell here. So you walk into his cell, you've got no idea that there's going to be a guy in there lying on the bed. He talks about what his life is like, so why he's in prison, the impact that's had on him personally. Our main work is here, and we work with schools, youth organisations and also youth offending teams, so we work with quite a lot of young offenders. We go in and speak with the Home Office and tell the government from our experience on the ground, this is what we're seeing, so we hope that that helps to influence policy. It's about trying to work with young people early on, ideally trying to target young people before they've got to that stage of being gang involved or before they've picked up a weapon. I hear children as young as 10, 11-year-olds that come in here and we work with that are, affected by some of these issues. And I don't think we can ignore it. And I think, if I would say anything, I just hope that every school would recognise that they need to do some sort of work or education around this with their children.
So what is this room used for?
So this room is called Ben's room. This is the first room of the exhibition that the young people will come in. You can see on the wall here we've got a letter that Ben wrote. It was for his GCSE project, and he was asked to write about something he cared about to Gordon Brown, who was Prime Minister at the time. And Ben chose to write about youth violence and gangs.
Oh wow, really?
So this was sort of within months before he was killed.
Yeah.
And it just shows you something that he was concerned about, that he thought was a big issue. So it's quite ironic and obviously very sad that that's what ended up killing him.
The exhibition provides young people with an opportunity to see what the real consequences are of carrying and using a knife. Since talking to Abby, the exhibition has been funded by Southwark Council, meaning that children aged 10 and 11 at primary school can visit for free. Our next stop was in Lewisham to visit Tony Harriott, a reformed ex-offender and volunteer trained through the St Giles Trust. She helps run SOS Plus sessions in schools and colleges, which work to inform students on the dangers of getting caught up in gang crime, with particular attention to weapons. So could you tell me about what the St Giles Trust is all about and what it actually does?
Okay, St Giles Trust is a charity. We've been around for about 40 years. In the last 10 years, St Giles we decided to make projects based around ex-offenders and helping ex-offenders.
As a reformed ex-offender now working for St Giles, could you tell me a little bit about your past and how you ended up here?
I was a bit of what we call a revolving door client. I found a real passion for the work that I wanted to do with young people, and then came to work for St Giles as a SOS caseworker.
So what is your role here at the St Giles Trust?
And my role here, as there's two parts to my role. I'm a caseworker, and as a caseworker I work with young people who have got issues around gang affiliation and they want to exit the gang lifestyle. We try to challenge the young people's behaviour and give them an alternative to the lifestyle that they're living. The second part of my role is to deliver SOS Plus sessions in schools, youth centres. And the SOS Plus sessions are a preventative session, and the sessions are about gangs and guns, knife crime, bringing awareness to young people about their rights. So I'll go into schools. The sessions are really interactive. They last about an hour and a half, and they're really important for the young people that we work with, because some of them, although they might not be in a gang, they might know someone that's been in a gang, they might be affected by gangs in their area. I think it's very important that we have preventative sessions with the young people to kind of demystify the whole gang culture. A lot of people glamorise it, a lot of people think that it's just all about the money, all about the girls, all about the notoriety, but then we show them about the consequences of it. We show them from the side of the victim, we show them from the side of the family or family. We have a young person that works with us at the moment. He's just finished a life sentence, so he comes into the schools and talks to the young people about his experience and stuff like that, and about the mistakes that he made.
Do you see knife crime as one of the biggest problems, so the people that come to you, do you think a lot of them have been involved in knife crime?
Yeah, I think that knife crime is just norm for the young people. A lot of young people carry knives with them. A lot of young people don't hesitate to pull their knife out and stab somebody. A lot of young people think that the person that they're going to stab is not going to die, and 9 times out of 10 doesn't work out like that. I think what's happened now is that the young people are so desensitised to violence and crime that they're carrying out violence and crime on one another.
So So our interview with Tony was yesterday. She was really inspirational. She's completely turned her life around, and she's from the St Giles Trust. So the reason that's good for us to know is because they do their sessions in schools and colleges, and it's really good to see that there is hope out there for young kids or teenagers who might be starting to offend now, getting involved in knife crime. There is people out there to help those people, so that's a really good thing to see. Next we're going to be speaking to a young lady called Ronnie. She herself has actually been stabbed. She's been a victim of knife crime at only a teenager. And we're going to be hearing what that was like firsthand, and I can imagine that's going to be really hard hitting.
So it all started about 3 years ago, when I was at a house party with some friends. A group of guys were there. I didn't know them. I thought everything was good. I thought I was going to have a good night, enjoy everything. Until this one guy, he started trying it on with me. He started touching me in places I didn't want to be touched at. And shortly after that, he pushed me into a bedroom. He pushed me on the bed. I didn't know what to do. I was confused. So I slapped him around the face thinking that he would stop. And then I felt 3 hard punches in my leg. 3 really hard punches. And shortly after that he ran out the room. I then touched my leg and I looked at my hand. All I could see was blood. Loads of blood. I was in shock. I was in pain. I was thinking things that I don't even know what I was thinking about. Like, am I going to die? Or what's going to happen now? So I ran out of the house and I immediately called my sister. She came and got me and she took me to St Thomas's Hospital. Luckily, I was okay and just came out with 12 stitches. But the nurse did tell me if the knife did go 2 centimeters deeper, I could have died. Like, I couldn't have been here today. I just didn't know what to do. My life changed completely. I lost education. I lost hope. I just didn't believe in myself anymore. I knew that someone was walking the streets that's actually intended to hurt me, having a knife on them and using it. The next corner you turn could be the last corner that you ever turn, from a friend to an enemy to even a family member trying to harm you. Children shouldn't want to be like their older siblings that carry knives and carry guns and think it's cool. It's not cool at all. That knife could take a life.
We've found out that there is work going on to not only help people who have already offended, but also to prevent young people from getting involved in a knife crime and gang culture lifestyle in the first place. From exhibitions to films to visits in school, there are different ways of reaching out to young people, and it appears that education can make a real difference. Since we started filming in November, there have been more fatal stabbings in London. No family should have to lose a child or a loved one to this senseless act. It's time for people to put down the knives and stop taking lives.
Life after death.